Bonjour tout le monde. The title of our topic is bioavailability of iron from NIFE-DTI in anemic and non-anemic Moroccan women. Iron deficiency is the most common nutritional deficiency in the world, affecting more than 2 billion of people. In Morocco, the prevalence of anemia in women of reproductive age continues to increase. In 1994, the prevalence was 30.8%, and in 2001, a national survey based on the hemoglobin dosage showed that 32.6% women of reproductive age and 37.2% of pregnant women are anemic, as well as 31.5% of children aged 6 months to 5 years suffered from iron deficiency. The last national survey in 2019 showed that 34.4 women in reproductive age remained anemic, 30.3 had iron deficiency, and 49.7 had iron deficiency anemia. Iron deficiency can be caused in industrial country by the vegetarian dietary choice or long-term negative iron balance, and in no-industrial country by the poor iron intake and or parasitic infection. And iron deficiency impacts on cognitive performance and affecting mental and motor development. The most vulnerable group is children and young women are particularly exposed of the greater need of because their greater need for iron for their period and pregnancy. This deficiency can be overcome by increasing iron intake either by food diversification, supplementation, or fortification, aiming to contribute to the improve or the health status of the population by acting on one of its major determinants, which is nutrition. The iron fortification of food is generally considered to be the best and the most profitable approach. This generally involves the fortification of cereal flour. The average consumption of this food by Moroccan population is more than 200 grams per person per day. Here we can show some iron compound for food fortification like ferrous sulfate, ferrous fumarate, and NIFE-DTI. To solve the anemic problem in Morocco, in May 2002, an agreement on the enrichment of flour with electrolytic iron was signed jointly by the Minister of Health and the National Mining Federation. After the launch of the flour fortification strategy, 2 surveys measuring the hemoglobin and ferritin level were carried out to assess the impacts of such intervention on the population. The fortification of industrial flour with elemental iron did not show any significant improvement on the iron status, as well as the prevalence of anemia remained very high. Furthermore, the presence of inhibitor in the diet further affects the bioavailability of iron in both anemic and non-anemic women. The polyphenols widely found in coffee and tea has been shown to be potent inhibitor of non-heme iron absorption. On the other hand, the bioavailability of iron from fortificants is dependent not only on the solubility of fortificants, but also on the proportion of iron-binding phytic and polyphenol compound, taking into account the new WHO recommendation to use NIFE-DTI as a 45 for white flour, and according to some studies, the absorption of iron from meal enriched with NIFE-DTA has been shown to be significantly better in comparison with other forms of iron. Hence, the objective of our study, which is part of the national program to combat micronutrient deficiency, is interested in evaluating and identify the bioavailability and effectiveness of iron in the form of NIFE-DTI to overcome the inhibitor effect of phytate and polyphenols in anemic and non-anemic women of reproductive age in order to evaluate the program, and will also allow the orientation or of the national strategy for the iron fortification flour. So I will explain the method used in our study. We have two stable isotopes which are present everywhere in the nature, and the iron 56 is the high natural abundance, so it's present in the whole body. The participants, they consumed the test meal, which was composed with 2 brioche fortified with 2 stable isotopes, and 2 weeks after, they consumed 2 stable isotopes. We took blood samples to measure the shift in enrichment ration in the iron 57 and iron 54 into the natural iron. All women who present chronic diseases or gastrointestinal disorder, regular use of medication, pregnancy or lactation, smoking, or subjects who cannot be expected to complete with us study was excluded. During the recruitment, the participants were made aware of following a diet devoid of meat, fish, and poultry 2 days before the study started, so as not influence the absorption of iron. After an overnight fast, 2 test meals was administered with or without tea, and was given in random order to the participants. The preparation of the brioche was proceeded as follows. The 2 brioches were reheated and cut in half, then fortified carefully with 2 ml the isotope solution. All the halves were covered with butter and honey. The study was conducted at Swiss Hospital in Rabat and Ibn Tufayl University Hospital in Kenitra. After 7 months of recruitment in the field, a workforce of 120 women was retained, of which 34 was excluded of the study and 36 was refused to participate in the study. And in the end, we have 21 anemic women and 25 non-anemic women who was included in all analyses. Regarding the status of iron, the comparison between the 2 groups show a high significant difference in the hemoglobin, serum ferritin, serum transferrin receptor, body iron store, serum iron, and transferrin saturation. Furthermore, no significant difference was recorded between the 2 groups concerning age, BMI, and total iron building capacity, and the indicator of inflammation. Our test meal was very low iron and phytic acid content, and all iron absorbed come from the label for 6 milligram of NAFEEDTA, and the inhibition of iron absorption was due to the polyphenol of tea. The average absorption of fractional iron was 25.14%, was 2 times higher in anemic women than non-anemic women. And the average absorption of fractional iron without tea was 33.39 in anemic women, 16.9 in non-anemic women, and with tea was 40.63 in anemic women and 2.10 in non-anemic women. And we have observed an equal inhibitor effect of tea on fractional iron absorption in anemic and non-anemic women. Other studies show that fractional iron absorption is also 2.5 times greater in the anemic group, and consumption of one or 2 cups of tea decrease iron absorption in the both anemic or non-anemic woman. And when test meal was given with vitamin C, the iron absorption was increased. Other studies show that the absorption within iron with ADTI was 2 times greater than ferrous sulfate. And Hugel and all show the same thing, that absorption from NAFEDTI was 2 times greater than from ferrous sulfate or ferrous fumarate. Ahmed Fauzi et al. Show also that fractional iron absorption was reduced by 36.24% 84% when test meal was given simultaneous with tea compared with the test meal given with water. And the fractional iron absorption was 2 times higher when test meal was given 1 hour after test meal than when the tea was given simultaneous with test meal. We can conclude that NIFEDTI iron is at least 6.5 times more bioavailable than elemental iron in anemic women, and anemic women absorb about 2 times more iron than no anemic women. Iron absorption highly depends on this subject's iron status. In anemic women, still 20.49% of their required 1.46 milligram iron per day would be covered on meal consumed with 1 meal consumed with tea. And the inhibitor effect of polyphenol is similar in anemic and no anemic women. Phytates have no effect on the bioavailability of iron from NIFEDTI, and 45 white flour with iron from NIFEDTI can largely resolve the problem of iron deficiency anemia in Morocco. And the literature show that effects of vitamin C on the iron absorption is stronger than the effects of from EDTI. The inhibitor effects of polyphenols is dose dependent, reducing the amount of cup or of tea with a meal. Iron absorption from NIFEDTI is 2 times greater than from ferrous sulfate or ferrous fumarate, and we should consider in having tea at least 1 hour after meal. Thank you.